Everything's coming up greener.
Here's Harold Matthews. He is
the Garden Doctor. The Garden Doctor.
Hello and welcome to the Garden Doctor May 2012 edition. I'm Harold Matthews. I'm the Garden Doctor. This is Mrs. Garden Doctor,
yes, I am.
Michelle Matthews, my lovely wife.
Hello.
And we want to remind you that our show this May is a day off because of the Memorial Day, of course, that we just had. And so this Tuesday night, we want to invite your calls. It's live. Please give us a call with any questions you might have about gardening or landscaping. We want to welcome our extended listenership that will soon be tuning in, and that's up in Wayne County. So all of you folks that know people in Wayne County, call them and tell them that this is the place to be. This is the show to watch. These are the people that just love everybody here in this county. And now we, well, of course, want to extend a welcome.
And I think that is absolutely great that our little show here in Connersville, Indiana, of course, that throughout Fayette County has been shown for a while. Now we get to extend our viewer area a little bit. And
has nothing to do with us, of course. It's because of the diligence of TV3 here. I mean, they're out there just beating feet and knocking on doors.
Are hard workers here.
And we also have a new website we want you to know about. A new email.
Email address.
New email address. It's showing right across the screen there. So we just were unable to keep up with the website. It was fantastic, all of the emails that you sent, but I didn't have time to take care of my own emails or answer my own phone call.
We are not a webmaster creators who just couldn't keep up on it, and it's really much easier to get a question and get an answer through email. So
now if you want to get through to us, if you want to send us a photograph or something, you got to go on and make sure it's the proper pixels and all of that good stuff. Don't even ask, I don't know. But you want to go to this website or this email address that's on there.
TV3,
email questions.
TV3 Garden Doctor, spelt out GARDENDOCTOR @gmail.com. Please send
for those
us
of you
emails.
that don't have a computer or whatever, you can always go to the library and they will be happy to show you how to irritate and aggravate the entire universe and send these emails out and receive them back, and they have some nice classes down there too.
Yes,
as a matter of fact, the Friends of the Library are doing something.
They are. The Friends of the Library are having their annual book sale, and this is a great thing. I love to go down there and you get great books at great prices. Now they
lots of gardening books.
Well, that's right. That's what you look for. And the Friends of the Library is an organization. They raise a lot of funds for a lot of things. They do a lot of good. They have this book sale every year. You've probably all seen the signs out there. I know many of you wait in line and really get in there for the book sale. Now, if you are a member, which means you pay a nominal membership fee, which is just it's worth it and does a lot of good, you get to have a sale early, which is Tuesday, June 19th, and then if you're not a member, the regular sale starts the next day. So get in there.
Very much worth standing in line. I've stood in line out there an hour before they open in the rain just to be the first in line to get in, and actually I get inside, I end up meeting, greeting, and talking to everybody. So
you got to talking?
Yeah, I do once in a while talk. Yes, when my wife is not there, so that I can actually communicate without being interrupted.
You don't like to talk to people. I don't understand. I don't know how that happens. So support the library and the Friends of the Library. The things they do, some of it, for their adult programs, children's programs, their bookmobile, craft supplies, all those good things. So please come to the book sale.
I wish I hadn't been so busy that I could get down to the events that they had on in Brookville. They always have a fantastic service for Memorial Day.
They sure
tremendous service down there, and a lot of support for the veterans down there, and Union, Franklin. I don't want to say it wrong. Union is over Liberty.
No,
Franklin is over there.
Franklin, definitely,
Franklin,
yes.
And I've had a long-term association down there with Doug's and Julie Singer at Singers, and now Whitetail Acres. Can't think of their names, for crying out loud.
It's Alice and Kevin.
Alice and Kevin.
Yes,
Yep.
I thought of that. Oh, am I lucky?
I've had so many people
No
on
last
the brain.
name, though.
And a lot of questions are coming in, and I wanted to address it real quick before I forget about, is it too late, and where do you get this, and where do you get that? There are some fantastic plants still available in the vegetable. Don't for any moment assume you're too late. I think our brains went a little Huey, a little crazy because of that early warm weather, but we are by no means, at no stretch of the imagination, too late.
No, I just put in my own garden plants. The plants at the garden doctor's house, the tomatoes and the peppers were planted yesterday. I am not kidding. We did put in some broccoli and cauliflower early, cabbage, but we have a problem with a groundhog. Now, getting rid of a groundhog, I don't have too much problem with, but I just saw the babies.
Oh, they're not
I
babies,
just saw
they're
the
teenagers
babies.
already.
I know,
Jeez,
but they're running in and out.
they're
And so now
eating
what do
my
I do?
stuff.
Well, they ate off all the broccoli, cauliflower. Need to say. So
They ate everything.
I know, they really did.
Everything that was
Everything.
growing.
That's true.
Was just getting ready. They
So
ate
I don't know
everything.
what to do.
And they are voracious.
But
They
anyway, before you got off task here about the Memorial Day presentations,
Yes.
there were some beautiful things around. Different counties, different cities had theirs going on. Connorsville, they had a nicer, smaller, more intimate ceremony. But
We're not sure what Wayne County had, but
no
I'm sure
less
they
meaningful.
had a program that we're just not as aware of at the moment. But because we're reaching out that direction, we're going to have to get more aware of what's going on. And if you have some events up there that you'd like to make us aware of, nonprofit type things, please use that email address. And
I would like
we'll
to take
promote as we
this
can.
moment to mention that, some of you may or may not know, my husband is a Vietnam veteran, and a very highly decorated one at that. He earned the Bronze Star for his service, and he doesn't often tell anybody that. And I just want to say Memorial Day is I always thought it was for only the soldiers who had passed, and I realized that it's also for the soldiers who are here. So I want to say thank you, husband.
Thank you for that. Dick Constanzer always has a fantastic article.
Yes, because I'm talking about the mild winter we had.
Yes, and this has a very large, very big part of that is that we are confronted with things that we normally would not be confronted with. One of the things I was discussing with my wife and asking her, what is the difference between growing a blueberry plant here in Indiana or growing one way further north
I know
from
the
here?
answer to that.
You do now.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles.
That's
yes.
the difference.
In New Hampshire, we can grow blueberries, and we don't have hardly any problems with them. In Michigan, they can grow blueberries.
Beautiful, big as your thumb, blue, but sweet.
Part of it has to do with the acidity in the soil. Part of it has to do with soil conditions and so forth. But one of the major factors is the depth of the snow. Because the snow is this deep, the rabbits can only eat up here. But down around Indiana, we have no snow, and they can eat right off of the ground. And we have a caller. Yes, you're on the line. You're on the air with Mr. and Mrs. Garden Doctor. Go ahead,
Hello.
please. What can we do for you?
I'm asking a question about creosote.
Yep.
Now, about telephone poles or, things like that. Can you use them for flower beds or...
Railroad ties, telephone poles, things that are creosoted.
Now that's that black, it really has a strong petroleum smell. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I could go into the whole thing of how it's made and all this kind of
Okay, but it's coated. Telephone poles are coated with it, right?
Yes. Now, your wife is correct that to be concerned about the creosote. If you're going to be planting tomatoes right adjacent to it, you can have some leaching of whatever it is that is on your, even if they're treated, you can have some leaching from that.
Anything that's in the wood, but with water, is going to leach into the soil. That makes sense.
To some extent, yeah. And there will be some absorption. Now, creosote is a natural product. It is a natural occurring product. So, even though we do things to.
Oh God, with that smell.
Yeah, it's still natural. So is sulfur, for that matter. Okay?
Yeah, I guess.
So,
I know.
But you don't want high concentrations of it, just like you don't want high concentration of salt. So she's correct to be concerned about that. And if it was, if you were raising strawberries, which I've seen a lot of strawberry beds that were lined with creosote, I really wouldn't want the plants and the fruit laying right on the railroad ties or on the telephone poles. But if you were raising, if you're doing this for a flower bed,
Oh, no problem.
I'm
right?
not as concerned, except if you have small children or if you have some skin sensitivities, then you may have a problem because you're going to be setting on that, and the part that you're putting on the railroad tie may be extremely sensitive to the oils and so forth. So you
Right,
have to
if
be
you're
careful of that.
using it for to sit on.
Yeah,
and,
for the
okay,
border.
sure,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank
yeah.
you much. Anything else we can help you with?
I think that's it for
All
us.
right. Thank you very much for your call.
Thank
we do
you for
appreciate
calling.
it. And if you have any friends that are in Wayne County, remind them that we're reaching out to
Yes.
them right next week. Give them a call and tell them to turn on the Garden Doctor and Mrs. Garden Doctor. Thank you for your call again.
Thank you.
Okay. Now,
That
where were
makes
we?
sense, though. That's an interesting question because in the day and
I
age
thought
of...
it was an interesting answer.
well, it is, but I wanted to add something to share with you that I thought of.
Yeah.
Is, well, we all have this new, for some it's new, interest in recycling materials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so use telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with them? Sure, you can't probably make a log house with them, can you? Because of the smell, or I don't know.
No, usually
But-
after when a telephone pole is treated, the whole pole is treated. But then, as the years go on,
Yeah,
the top of
it's-
it fades,
right.
and the creosote is
It doesn't stay yucky
evaporates.
forever.
No,
but-
they retreat the base though. So you have to cut off the bottom, and you get rid of the heavy treated stuff by cutting the portion that goes into the ground.
and the part
just above
that's
it.
been in the ground for
Right,
a while
and that's-
anyway.
Well,
so.
and they used to go redig them and they'd respray them.
Okay.
And then they would retreat.
So they are safe for a lot of things, but
very safe.
But you're just
Yeah.
saying that when it comes to anything edible, that
or
probably
children,
right,
or if you have
right.
sensitivities, and you can
Gotcha.
you can test for sensitivities.
Yeah, like I did with the poison ivy.
Yeah, just rub it on your husband. Doesn't
I
it,
am
sir?
not allergic to poison ivy. I found out. Okay.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So yeah, the idea of recycling is great. Okay, and use it for any other things. Cut it even, but
railroad
not
ties.
for
Now,
food.
railroad ties are a whole different ball game.
The square, right? No,
They don't. They because they stay in the ground. When you flip them over, the creosote can be concentrated in the bottom quarter of them. So I really make sure that I put the railroad tie the same side up, so that the top part is the part that has been exposed.
Right,
so
right.
that the leaching is.
See, the telephone pole
poles
is
are up in the
all
air.
exposed,
Yeah,
whereas
there you
the other railroad ties are only half exposed. That
Most
makes sense.
definitely. Okay, you've upstaged my good buddy,
Sorry.
Mr. Constancer, 3 or 4
no,
times now.
never in a million years.
We
Hi,
love
Dick. Hi, Carolyn.
We love them. She used to go to the auctions with us.
She does still
And-
on occasion.
okay.
I've seen her around.
He's talking in the article that's in the
Yes.
Constitutional News Examiner about the tulip poplar. Now, the tulip tree is what? What is that tulip tree?
The Indiana state tree is the tulip tree. Now it goes by several different other names, tulip poplar being one of them. If I'd have thought of it, I wrote them down. Didn't want to. Here, that's. But that, yes, is the state tree of Indiana.
Okay, now we have a condition that has always been on the tulips, and it's scale. And scale is by itself very difficult to control on anything. We get scale on euonymus. We get scale on a number of plants.
Roses even.
Roses get
yeah.
scale. It's actually scales over the insect that is down underneath this hard shell, and they'll build up in layers and layers and layers. And you have to get down through those layers in order to treat it. So it makes it very difficult to treat. There's not very many predators that are out there looking to eat scale. Now they love to eat aphids and they like to eat other things, even bagworms.
You can see it, and it looks like a little dome of a crust kind of thing. Yeah.
And underneath that dome is the activity of the insect. Now the insect will suck all the juices out of the plant, and then they secrete or urinate, and it all falls down onto the pavement or your car that is underneath and creates a very sticky, gooey, tacky
It's
environment.
called drippage. There's some drippage.
Anyway, and Mr. Constancer did a fantastic job of describing how that whole process works. And the problem is we had a very mild winter, so this problem is extremely pronounced this year and is going to get worse before it gets better. Now, there's going to be some people that are just going to take these trees down because they're just tired of this, just like they take down the gum trees because of the balls, those little Velcro things that fall all over the ground.
Velcro, yes, I know those well. From
and the cats just love them. I don't know why they don't stick to their paws.
I guess they could do this all day.
But then somebody should find a use for them, like the bagworms, putting on the wreath. We could, I'm not supposed to mention that. That's right. But anyway. But the scale is really a major problem. Now we've lost many of the elm, we've lost the ash, and now it's attacking the poplar, the tulip, and
isn't it all for the same reason that
global warming?
Okay, but
the increase of temperature is in large part changing the environment to such an extent that these diseases can, instead of being small and
right.
just a minor irritation, are just wiping out entire
Well, let me
species.
ask you this. Okay, for the same reason I was going to mention that the ticks have been out of control this year. I mean, really, if you're not using something on your dogs.
You're talking about our neighbors?
There's
Mr. and Mrs.
ticks
Tick, or
everywhere. No, there are ticks
We have
everywhere.
nice neighbors.
You have to check yourself constantly. We have found several ticks. And why is it that we have so many ticks? And again, I think it's because of the mild winter. You don't get the freeze that kills off the insects the way we used to, just like you're not getting the freeze that's killing off these insects that are preying on these trees.
And many of
Isn't
the
that
diseases,
correct?
and we go on
right?
and on and on and on.
Now, if that's the case, then what about flu viruses and those kind of bugs? Maybe they get froze off too?
Okay, you do recall that I'm the garden doctor, right?
Oh wait, let me call Dr. Oz.
There you go. Call somebody else because you're at the wrong address.
Isn't that
for
the reason? No freeze for long enough.
I'm sure. Yeah, everything negative is increased and those things positive. We do have a few things positive to say about global warming. We can now grow certain varieties of plants that we couldn't before. The crepe myrtle, the hibiscus. We do get an extended growing season.
Look at how many annuals we have had come back.
Oh, this
in
is
recent
ridiculous.
years. Yes.
I literally have dianthus coming all over the place.
Those come back a lot, but dahlias.
I have dianthus coming back. They only usually come back 2 or 3 years. These are coming back for 5 or 7. But dahlias, they're so tender down there. If you don't dig that bulb by that root up and bring it in, that tuber.
And I left in the planter box that grass. It's like a grass, and it has it's a red, just shoots of a grass. It's a tropical ornamental thing that would be in the center of a basket. Had it in a pot in the front yard, and that thing came back. It is back alive.
Yeah.
I guess that we never got cold enough to freeze and kill it.
That's correct.
So
now, see, the reason people don't call in is because they can't get a word in edgewise. This is what I live with every day. Every day. Okay, moment of silence.
No,
so
this
that you
is
can
the
call
only
in.
time I get to talk because you can't stop me.
See, I tried to stop you so that they could have a moment of just a break for just a second to call.
Well, let me talk long enough to say this is a live show. Call us tonight with your questions or comments. The number is 825-3245 or 827. So I had to look.
Yeah, I noticed you had to look.
3135. Call us live tonight. It's the Garden Doctor.
Now, we just had some rain. The rain fell. We had this beautiful, nice, I think I got 3/4 of an inch registered. That is just a drop in the bucket.
Yep.
Don't assume that drink did anything. The only thing it did good for is the crops. The beans and the corn and the hay, that's it.
They were darn near
toast. The lawn,
toast.
maybe a little bit. You had a little bit of value there, but we are still 6 inches low, and I think in Wayne County as well as in Fayette, Franklin, Union. Now, Franklin, I think, is a little closer because they got a couple of rains we didn't get that scooted right underneath us.
Yeah, we
So,
lucked out several times where some bad storms went right below us.
yeah, but
so.
we need the rain.
I know,
even if we
but-
got to put up with a little bit of wind, which is another thing too. But so don't assume that your big, mature, gorgeous, fantastic trees in the yard have adequate supply of water, because this will be, if it comes to pass, 3 years out of 5 that we are experiencing a drought, which is what we are in right now. Whether it's been officially called or not, we are in a drought. The large trees are under stress. Your small and medium plants are under extreme stress, and they need a heavy drink of water. You should be watering all of your foundation plants, all of your yard plants, all of your yard trees, and all of your lawns.
Yes, we already are running sprinklers almost and rotating almost on a continual basis.
All over the entire
already to water plants that are in pots, as well as already well-established plants, constantly rotating around the yard.
Well, and that has to
Already,
be done so that
yeah.
we can get the plants to be healthy enough so that they can survive during the time when it's supposed to be dry in July and August. Right now, it's not supposed to be dry. So don't make that assumption that that little rain that we had solved the problem, because it did not.
No, you know what's funny?
As long as there is no restriction on your watering, I would definitely strongly recommend that you water. And don't forget the great big giant trees. These trees are 6 inches low this year, 5 inches low
They
last
need it.
year, and then 4 years ago, 4 inches low. You stack all that up, and that's a flood.
Well, I
That's Noah.
think our one tree is going to be fine
What?
because I left the sprinkler on all night last night.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of that.
So that one tree is all set.
Honey, you gonna turn the sprinkler off? Yeah, I got it.
I forgot.
Yeah.
So.
Okay then, moving right along.
Yeah, what else we got? I had something else I was going to say.
Oh,
tied
there's
into
100,000
that, but-
things. Let me tell you about if right now you're growing tomato plants and you have tomatoes that are, let's say they're that tall, and you want to have tomatoes all the way through until it freezes. That tomato plant probably is not going to do it for you. You need to plant a second crop of
I
tomatoes.
love this rotation you do.
Put a second crop
do.
of tomatoes in. You can do it off your own plants. Take pinch cuttings off in your own plants. You get the suckers off your plants. You just root those, strip off a couple of the bottom leaves, stick them down in the ground, let them get rooted, and they will grow and produce. You got plenty of time.
And it's awesome because by the time the first round is kind of looking, dwindling down, not producing so much, the vine dying up and drying, your next batch that you've already planted is just coming on strong, and that is awesome. I love how you keep that going all
Hey,
summer.
we have some photographs. Now, we had some pictures sent in the last show about a lawn, and we have this photographs of a local lawn here in Connersville, Indiana. This thing is amazing. It's an award-winning lawn. I don't know how many blue ribbons, you
Wow.
know, if you took this thing to the fair, if you could dig it up,
Yeah,
take it
that's
down to the fair.
beautiful, yeah.
It's, wait a minute.
There it is.
I believe that's the show manager's lawn
I think
right
that's
there.
gorgeous.
I think that's John's lawn.
Wow.
I recall driving by that.
Very nice.
And it looked like maybe there was some nuclear thing that went on there.
I don't know.
You know?
Did
Anyway.
somebody park there for like a month?
Yeah, lots of things happen.
Wow.
Okay, we have just a cornucopia.
Yes, I see.
I've been wanting to use that word for a long
that's
time.
a good word.
Cornucopia we have there.
We do.
Of weeds and lack of grass.
Look at that close up. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, hey, now there's a photograph.
Now that's
you see what
Death
you have
Valley,
here is you
right?
have this is death. There's almost nothing in that picture that resembles grass. Way over
There's
in the back
one or
side
two
there.
going, help me, help me.
Over here we've got there's purslane in there. There's mouse ear. There's creeping Charlie. We have some of the crabgrass. There's some bent grass in there.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, he has reseeded this area on
he's
some
put
time,
thousands
right?
of pounds out here of seed, I'm sure.
And so, what's your option but to scrape it all off and
there,
put
right
up new
there,
sod?
some dandelion and some purslane, and I don't even know what that is over there. Oh, there in clover. There's some white clover in there. Now that's the only good thing in the yard so far.
That's some clover.
Yeah, there's some clover right there. Now, a lot of what you're seeing there are the seed pods. Because it's gone into a drought, the early growth weeds, that little creeping weed that is the early growth in his yard, has already gone to seed. Okay, so you really can't treat it right now effectively. Now, there are, if it was green and healthy, then you can kill it. The healthier something is, the easier it is to kill. Okay, so you want it to be watered, you want it to be fertilized, and then you want to attack it. So that's the ideal situation. Now, on that particular lawn, I'd just move. I'd pack up. I would be down the street.
No, that's what I said. What do you do except peel up the lawn and put it down a new one?
No,
I don't
absolutely
even
not.
No, okay.
Water it heavy, fertilize it, get it in good health.
But it's going to take some
time. Hit it with a weed and feed in early August, so that you got plenty of time. Reseed it with fescue only, no bluegrasses, none of that other nonsense. Sometime the last part of August, first part of September, and you're good to go. That will be that's not an unusual lawn.
So if he does these things, follows these steps all year, and does what have you?
Just don't do anything except water it well to get it good and green. Fertilize it if you wish with triple 12 or some basic fertilizer.
Okay.
When it starts greening up and getting gorgeous, then you hit it with a weed and feed sometime around the 1st of August. Give it another watering. You can even let the lawn go to sleep
well,
right now.
Well, then what happens come next spring when it's time for the lawn
you'll
to wake
already have
up?
a gorgeous lawn in the fall.
So it'll come back as a gorgeous lawn in the spring? Or is it going to go back to death?
The end of August, 1st of September. If it's first you get rid of the bad stuff, then you put in the good stuff, then you support the good stuff.
Okay, good. All right. Well, there's a solution for you.
Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
You have a lot of work ahead. That's
Not very
for sure.
much, really. No, you just don't. People are trying to make their lawns green when they want to go to sleep. Let them go to sleep. Then later on, wake them up. They're supposed to be asleep. They're supposed to rest in July and August. Did somebody say we had a phone call or not?
No, I thought I heard that for a minute, but no, I think we'd lost them on the line somehow. If that was you, call back, please.
All right, okay.
One thing also, speaking of the lawn, was that they really, at this time of the year, should be lush, and they're just dead all over.
Oh, yeah, this is way early for dead lawn.
Yeah, you had told me that one of the reasons was the weed and feed that was applied was not as effective because it did not get the rain it needed to saturate and go into the lawn. So the weed and feed this spring, if you did it, it was probably completely ineffective.
Right.
And
weed preventer may have worked, but the weed and
hopefully,
feed may not have been effective at all because if it's a granular product, it requires moisture to release.
Right.
We haven't even really had heavy dew to release it in that fashion. So, and if you've released it on dry grass, doesn't like that anyway. So if you didn't have irrigation or you didn't irrigate, you're looking at 90-degree temperature. That's when grass goes to sleep. It wants to be to sleep. Don't wake it up. Leave it asleep. But it's going to wake up now because we're going to get some rains and we're supposed to get
people
some Friday.
want to, the thing is to water it all summer and keep it awake so you have green, pretty grass all summer. That's how you do it.
If they wish to do that, then they need to. With what we're confronted with now, with the droughts being common, put in an irrigation system. If you're going to want to have a lush, plush
it
lawn,
is efficient.
And you want to put, that's the only efficient
timer,
way to take care of your lawn. So it comes on at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't waste a lot of water. Who wants to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning turning on their sprinkler and turning it off? Put it on a timer. That's the most effective way to water your lawn, and then it burns off before it creates a mold or a mildew. One of my good friends that lives over in Village Creek, I think, came to me with an issue in his lawn. He had fairy ring or silver dollar. I like to call it fairy ring. Fairy ring. It's a lot more creative than
that
silver
is.
dollar.
It sounds so much nicer.
Let me tell you something. This person will never be accused of not keeping his garage or his property clean or his lawnmower or anything else, but not always considering the fact that up underneath the lawnmower is a breeding ground for diseases and fungus and so forth like that.
Right.
You should disinfect up underneath your lawnmower.
And bleach is
Clean
all
it
you
all
need,
out.
right?
That's all you need is bleach. Clean it all out. Make sure that you're not going to destroy any of your clothes or your concrete. Bleach will bleach out concrete.
It sure will. And
Okay?
it might do it on the concrete if your concrete needs it.
If you don't use too much of it, and you don't need
It doesn't take a
high
lot. You don't
concentration.
need straight bleach. You
Yeah.
can use a concentration, and that is just as good a disinfectant.
Clean it all
sure.
out from underneath there. Make sure everything is turned off. As a matter of fact, I recommend taking the spark plug out. Not just disconnecting the spark plug, because the spark plug can still rest close enough to the plug, the wire can, to start the lawnmower if somebody happens to do
He's
something.
overly careful.
You start working up
really.
underneath a lawnmower, you take a spark plug out, stick a rag in there, then nobody can start that lawnmower, and there's no damage or hazard going to happen. So anyway, get up under there, scrape all of the stuff out, flush as much as you can out, and then run a disinfectant under there. And do it about twice a year, especially do it when you put your lawnmower up in the fall. Now, if you do see this silver dollar, which looks like it's silvery in color and it's dollar in shape. So not silver dollar this big around, but it can be silver dollar any size. It can pop up all over the place in the lawn. What it is a disease. And you go to any supply company, it doesn't matter where you go, you don't have to know what you're talking about, just buy a lawn disease treatment. Get the lawn disease treatment. Do not apply it to the entire lawn. Apply it to the area where you see this disease and a little bit more. Treat your lawnmower so you don't spread the problem, and treat your footwear so that as you tramp across, if you wear shoes just for mowing a lawn, that you don't tramp this thing around in any fashion. Okay, so once you have cleaned everything up and made a treatment there, if it does pop up somewhere else in the yard, you have the container left over to treat that other area as well. Now, whenever you have something that is a insect, something that kills insects or kills diseases, make sure you put it in an area that's locked up. Because little hands can get in there, even animals can get in there that shouldn't be, and can do some damage. But I thought that was interesting that this
Yes.
person is his yard is immaculate, everything he does is immaculate, but he never quite thought about cleaning up underneath the lawnmower. I'll guarantee you that will be cleaned. It'll be immaculate, and he did a fantastic job. Treated the silver dollar in his yard,
Did he?
and controlled it. He said it went away within 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And when it popped up again in another spot, boom, he treated it, and it was gone immediately.
Good, great. Well, we love good outcomes.
Took the garden doctor's advice.
Well, I always take your advice, honey. Yes, I do.
That's crapola.
Well, lawns are not the only things in distress. All trees, shrubs, and especially any new plantings, anything new that you've planted and put in the ground right now is undergoing stress because of the drought. So you have to get out there and water the established shrubs, right, and trees, as well as anything new, especially, really needs that water to get the roots
What did you
started
say about the
and,
eagles,
and
my
going.
dear?
Oh, the eagles. Well,
I love eagles.
Yes,
When you go up to Canada, you see eagles everywhere. And
I was
osprey and
doing some, popping around. And for a while there, last fall, I was watching an eagle's nest that had a camera inside of it. And the two eagles, I know a
Went
lot of people
viral.
a lot of people were watching this. The two eagles took turns, of course, taking care of the babies, bringing food into the nest, and you could watch it day and night, and they would move the camera. Awesome. It was a good experience.
so because of that, you got interested
Well,
to figure out how
I
they
just
were
happened
here.
to be popping around the computer and came across this information that there's been a decline in the number of bald eagles here in Indiana, and again due to the mild winters and the change in climate. They are migratory birds. They mostly live in, or north of us is where they live and migrate here to is Canada, and they live there, and when it is frozen, when the lakes freeze and it gets really cold, that's when they migrate here to live, so there's open waters, they can eat fish, that type of thing.
Their main source of food has to do with water. Everything
Yes.
is associated
They have to
with
be
this
near open
bird
water.
of prey with
Yep.
water. More, they feed on dry land as well, but
Sure.
water is
Dead
a major
fish,
focus of theirs.
Animals that come to the open water to eat, those are also live prey. Well, there has been a decline in the number of migrating eagles to Indiana due to that reason.
Yeah. And when they're, and you know, it's funny because last winter we had an increase of the snow owl. And they were coming down. Remember that was on the news?
Yeah, I remember.
And they were up in Northern County. They never quite got down to us. But, boy, I wanted to see them. They were close, though. I believe there was 1 or 2 in Wayne County, as a matter of fact. But they didn't quite get down here. We have a caller, and we're going to move right on over, as we always do. You're
Hi.
on the air live with Mr. and Mrs. Garden Doctor. What can we do for you?
Yes, my name is Lisa McElroy. Right now, I got a peace lily plant that was given to me by my mom, and it's been growing pretty good. That here lately, it has been coming up with almost like burnt spots on it, or it's not where a bug is biting on or nothing like that. It just looks like burnt spots, and I didn't know what to do with it.
There's a number of reasons that. How long have you had that plant?
Probably a little bit less than a year. I just repotted it into a bigger container about 3 months ago.
Okay, when you repotted the plant, it didn't show many signs of this, and now it is?
Yeah.
Okay. They go through shock. If you didn't change the environment, if you put it exactly back in the same place that it was, the one thing that people do wrong is they treat peace lily too delicately, and they're not rough enough with them. When you take a peace lily out of the pot that it was in and you transplant it to the next pot, we try to be very delicate with it, and we're real careful when we pull it out of the pot, we set it down, we put it in the next pot, put a little dirt around it, and we're good to go. When it really wants is for us to take it out of that pot, beat the roots up against the side of a building, pull them all
I've
apart,
done that.
pull them all apart so that they're not wound and twisted around each other and strangling each other, and so that they're not all balled up. And if we can't pull them apart, then slice down through very carefully with a serrated knife to cut some of those roots, and then knock apart some of that dirt. Now, a lot of the dirt that's in there has salts in it, and those salts and accumulations come from some of the fluorides and salts and treatments, chlorine and so forth, that we put in our water. So they accumulate after a while.
You'll see those white, like crystally like things that start to come in your house plants.
Yeah, and they get all over the plants and everything. So you want to rinse that off. So we take our peace lily outside and we beat it up against a tree, and then we take a hose and we flush all the dirt off.
Yeah.
Then we pull all the roots apart, and sometimes we end up with we pull it apart. We have two plants.
You can split them. You can divide them if you want to too.
Oh, wow.
And then we
use. That's what I have to do.
Then we use that plant, the plant that we started off with originally, and maybe we've got half left, put it back in the same pot, and we put the best potting soil in there. We use
Use expensive soil.
Yeah.
I know it is.
The good
It's
stuff.
worth it. It really is.
We want the stuff that has the fertilizer in it,
Yep.
that has the moisture beads
control.
in it, and that is good quality soil, good quality name. And I like to put drainage underneath so that it's not setting in a pot that the water cannot go down through.
I generally go out in the yard and I'll put a handful of gravel or rocks or something in the bottom just to give it that little bit of extra drainage where it won't sit and rot in the bottom.
Exactly. You want to get it up off the bottom and then put a tray underneath it, if at all possible.
Yeah, I did that. My brother told me at one time, he said he puts grass cuttings in the top of his plants, and it made them grow real good. I've never heard of that.
Well, that would be nitrogen.
The grass trimmings will filter the water as it goes down through, and that way all of your toxins stay on top. So he's correct about that. But you want to make sure you don't put treated grass trimmings in there. Okay. If they've been treated with a weed and feed, you could kill your plant.
Yeah,
because that Spathiphyllum, anything in that family of the is a weed, and it will react to 2,4-D or any of the weed control.
Now, after you moved, I was curious. After you repotted your plant, did you move it or change its light or air conditions at all?
Well, I've had my air conditioner on, but this happened before this started. Usually I set it out on my little porch that I have, in between that and then just bringing it inside to the kitchen. So it hasn't changed the atmosphere or nothing like that.
Okay.
Maybe because the weather got a little bit warmer or something. Maybe that has something to do with it.
It's probably just a transplant. They go through
Probably,
shock.
yep.
And if it's going to go through shock anyway, let it go through the right kind of shock, which is just ripping it apart. I would take it out of the pot that it's in, flush off the roots, or just really use a hose and flush every bit of dirt off those roots. Pull them apart. Try to straighten them out just like knotted, twisted, gnarly hair. Not like my beautiful spoon.
Oh, give me some
just
scissors.
anyway, all of the twisted, knotted stuff, you want to pull all of that apart, and if any of the roots is damaged, prune that off. And then if you've got roots that are way too big for the pot, don't be afraid to cut them straight off. Cut them right off. And if you can't get it untwisted, slice down the sides so that the roots won't go around the circle. They'll go out.
Yeah, that's what you don't want is that root ball cluster that looks like it's going round and around and around.
That's root memory, and that can really
keeps
kill
it
your
that
plant.
size.
That can do a lot of damage. But then the last item that I would mention is they do not like direct sunlight. So you don't want to put them in direct sunlight because it'll burn holes and you'll get little brown spots in the foliage.
Yeah, they do like very a filtered light, not a whole lot of it either.
All right.
Okay, great. Well,
All right.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Good
thank
luck.
you for your
Thank
call.
you for
We appreciate
calling.
it very much. If you have any friends in Wayne County, make sure you call them and tell them that
please
we're about
do.
to reach out to them.
I sure will. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I love a peace lily. I love the pink ones, the spathiphyllums, and the big giant ones with I just really love a peace lily.
It's a great plant to start off with. If you want to give a plant to somebody that has a black thumb to convince them that they're
Like
not
me?
black thumb, yes.
No,
you
would
need to have
kill
a
it.
dead cactus, and somebody
I've
tell you
killed
it's alive.
those.
Yeah, I know you.
I
Run
know.
over
Just
with a
give
car.
me a fake plant. I know. I'm trying right now because my father sent me a flower basket for Mother's Day.
Oh, and the
or a
first thing
plant.
she does is put it out back in the sun. And do you see the leaves on it?
Look, I thought I was transplanting it to get it out of the house because I would kill it in the house. So I put it in good soil, in a good pot, in a good shady location. I even watched where the shade was being blocked by the tree and put it there.
We have to interrupt. We have a caller, and we're going to go straight
I'm
to the
leaving.
line. And the wife has to. Oh no. Okay, you're on. You're on with the Mr. and Mrs. Garden.
With him.
What can we do for you?
Hello?
Yes,
Hi.
go ahead.
I can't hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're on the air with the Garden Doctor.
Okay, hey, Doc.
Yep. Go ahead.
It's Red Out on Indiana Avenue, and I talked to you the other day.
Yeah. How are you doing, Red?
You showed me your flowers down here you put in. It was beautiful. And what I wanted to ask a couple little questions. Number one, my wife's got petunias, and she says something is eating them up, and she's using that number 7 bug killer on it, and she wanted to know if you had any idea what it could be.
Yeah. On petunias, it's probably right now because of them being a new planted bed. She's probably has slugs or snails that are taking a chunk out of her petunias. So tell her to get some slug geta and dust it around there. And treat for slugs. That will help take care of the petunias. What was your other question?
Okay, this is a funny question. I buy tomato plants. I plant about a dozen every year, and she plants her in her little spot. We just live at 2348 Indiana, and we love doing that. And I buy plants that just about has red tomatoes on them. You know what I mean? They got green tomatoes.
Yep.
And then she plants little ones, and she says there's not no difference in the little ones and big ones. And of course, we both have tomatoes. I just want to know what your input is on this.
She is right. Now, I only say that because she paid me extra, but I have to say that. But no, if you buy tomatoes that already have fruit on them, the chances are that they're root bound in their container. So if you don't slice the roots when you plant your tomato plants that are a little bit older, and there's no reason not to buy them. The older plants are not necessarily any better or worse, but if you slice those roots before you put them in the ground, then your plant will outdo her plant because it's an older plant. If she takes her plant when she plants it and uses a time-released fertilizer that has all of the micronutrients in it, then hers will probably outdo yours. So
that's a contest.
It's a
on.
contest. It's on. Let me tell you. Yep. But she did pay me a little extra. She said she would cook me a gooseberry pie if I said that she was right.
Okay. Well, listen, keep the good work up and everything. And I do. I buy these patio tomatoes. They're about 2 foot tall, and I've had good luck. Last year was the worst year I've had in 75 years.
Yeah, us too. It was awful.
And this year is the best I've ever had. They look good and everything, and I do cut the roots and pull them apart with my hands, exactly what you said. So I'll probably have plenty of tomatoes.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. And,
Thanks a lot, guys.
give your little dog a hug for us, will you?
Will do, buddy.
All right, take care,
thank
buddy.
you. We had another question came in on a Facebook question.
We have a Facebook?
Their tree was hit by lightning this morning. What should they do? It says here, have photograph. Look here. Okay.
Holy mackerel, Andy. Their tree was hit this morning by lightning?
What? Yeah.
That is quite interesting. Now, this, it looks like it was a bounce. I have seen trees that were struck directly split in half.
I was going to say, I don't see a split,
Well,
but it doesn't show high enough.
I think if you can see where it goes down, where you see it down by the base of the trunk where it's going into the ground there.
Looks like
I think,
the trunk exploded at the bottom.
Well, if you follow that root out, I think you'll find the ground was actually exploded a little further out.
Wow.
Now, some of what has happened to this tree is not evident. It's internal. There are things going on inside that tree
Yes, sure.
that are not evident. The reason why this tree did not explode and blow up, was because it was not full of water. Because it's in a drought, because we're dry right now, that tree couldn't conduct electricity to the extent that it normally would in the spring of a year. That tree would have blown to smithereens under normal circumstances.
Oh, my word.
Okay, now that doesn't mean that the tree is in great shape and going to be just fine.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
When a tree is struck by lightning, that is a very, very serious situation. You need to have that tree inspected by somebody that really knows what they're doing, not by somebody that just wants to cut down your tree or trim your tree. Oh, this thing needs to be trimmed. Get an arborist. Get somebody that is not necessarily...
I mean, yeah, if this is definitely a tree that you like and want to save. I mean,
it looks like they've got a ring around the tree. They've got a rock bed around it.
Apparently they care about it.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
So you need to have that tree checked out, and you want to look for damage because you don't want a tree hanging over your lawn or your automobile or house or whatever.
So that's what they should do is find an arborist at a licensed tree company or something
call
to that
the
effect.
extension office. I don't know what their service is now or what they do or I'm not sure how it works anymore at the extension office, but they have in the past provided this service. But what you need to know is where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are of this tree, and to treat it. What would you do if, let's say, the damage is minimal? You need to consider the fact that this tree has gone through trauma and shock, and treat it just like you would a person. You give them IVs and you pump them up full of...
How about some water and fertilizer
exactly.
and
nutrients? You want to feed
baby it a little bit.
You want to deep water it. That tree looks like it's going to need lots and lots and lots of water, and it'd be a good idea anyway. Now I just mentioned that because it's dry, the lightning didn't strike as
right. So
as
apparently
hard.
it's dry.
But watering it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to increase its chance of being struck by lightning.
Right.
By the way, lightning does strike in the same place twice. Every time we kiss. See, brownie points. Mark that one down. Right there.
Now, mention also, you said deep watering. That's that thing that it's a big stick.
Feeder.
Yeah, you turn it on.
A big stick is a Ross
Well,
root
it's
feeder.
got 2 holes in it. I know you have to turn it on before you stick it in the ground, or you're going to get crud in the holes, and it's not going to work. So you stick it in the ground.
We used to think that trees only get water out by the cambium layer, way out by the end of the branch structure, but that's not true at all. they get water up around the base and the trunk, and part of the treatments that are now being made, the new where you're doing applications and so forth, is right up against the trunk of the tree. So watering against the trunk all the way out to the drip line, which is the outer branches of the tree, is very helpful. That whole entire area is part of the structure of the tree, that where it gets moisture.
I just lay the hose down and leave it for a while.
Yeah, well, we know that for 24 hours. Let it run all night.
But even then, you can do that for an hour and come out there, say, with a little tiny hand shovel and try digging a hole, and it will only be wet like this deep.
Yeah, an hour.
I mean, you'd be amazed how little.
When people run sprinklers, and I've mentioned this 100,000 times, but I'm big on watering. Put a can out in your lawn. Go out there and measure and see how long it takes for your sprinkler.
Hours.
For your sprinkler with your water pressure turned on full blast to put 1 inch of water in that can.
Yep.
You have to know that, or you have no idea how much water you're putting
Or
down.
you're going, oh, I'm done. No.
You need 1 inch minimum. If you're watering shrubs, you want 1.5 inches. Put 1.5 inches when you do water them. So you need to know, how long does it take for 1.5 inches for this sprinkler to do that? Now, you can do it much easier directly with a hose, but you don't want to flush the dirt out.
But then there's that cool tool, the stick, the poker thing, the Ross root feeder.
Which it also comes in soil injectors and water injectors.
It injects water underneath the ground.
Does a fantastic job. Did we forget anything? We're about to run out of time.
Awesome.
We want to make sure that we mention this new
Oh, I was asked
Gmail.
a question.
Gotta do fast.
Why? I don't have 10
2
minutes. I thought he said 10 minutes.
Oh, he said 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes? Well, somebody had 10. He said 10, you see. When we're not talking, we're listening to the man in our ear.
Go ahead.
All right, you want me to be quiet now?
No, go.
I was asked, what was the best time to dig and divide daylilies and grasses?
Oh, I wanted to know that at this show. Why didn't you mention that?
I thought they would be the same time. Plants, dig, divide, right? No, it's not the same time. The best time to dig and divide your daylilies is at the end of the summer, after they have finished all of their blooming. Then they can be dug and pulled apart and divided, and they will still have plenty of time to root and before they have to go into winter and survive winter. Plenty of time. However, the grasses, this surprised me. You know how in the fall we cut off our grasses, to this short, because we don't want to see any dead tall grasses when they shoot up in the spring. I found out today that, and you already knew this, didn't you? I don't know why I looked things up. I should have just asked him.
You live with a garden doctor, and she looks things up on the internet.
I don't know. Well, they said the best time to dig and divide grasses is in early spring, just as they start to sprout out their new little things there. You dig up the whole clump, and then, of course, sometimes it takes, a machete, a shovel, or something to divide your sections and do it in the beginning of spring. Okay, I see the I told you so look.
I told you so.
And
I've been doing this for 25 years while she's been watching.
But you didn't, I don't know if you knew this part, that they said that your daylilies will flower more when they are divided more.
Why will they flower less if you don't divide them?
Because they got to share all the nutrients. They're crowded.
They're crowding, right.
They're competing for root.
Same thing with the grasses.
Dirt.
If you don't dig and divide the grasses about every 3 to 5 years.
It says right there on the internet.
They're going to start dying on the inside.
No. The internet said.
The internet doesn't. She lives with the garden doctor. She looks it up on the internet.
It says grasses actually should be divided every 3 to 5 years.
As should iris.
Because they meant to get to it some of them creep and crawl everywhere, but most grasses are meant to stay in a clump.
Those are probably sedge, not
once
necessarily
those
grasses.
clumps get to that size, and then it's 3 and 5 years, they start like burning out and dying, right?
Oh, the second Saturday the 2nd, there's a plant exchange.
I had the ad and I lost it. It was in today's paper, the same paper that had Dick Constanzer's
Please go on
thing
the
in there.
internet, look it up. It's a really great thing
Today's
to go to.
paper had Yes, it was a
Connersville
little
News
square
Examiner.
ad about a plant exchange.
By the plants.
Oh, help me. Sorry,
but
I
anyway.
forgot the paper.
Yes, and she dropped it. It was all her fault.
It was a piece of clipping
please call
this
in,
big.
complain,
Come
send
on.
emails to that
Two.
address.
Yes, we have a new email
Complain about her
address.
losing the thing, you know.
TV3 gardendoctor@gmail.com. That is our new email address. I am going to be apparently the one checking it regularly because I know he won't.
Probably.
And
someone
regular-
here at this fine facility will be doing
Maybe.
the checking.
Because for me, regular means quite irregularly. So
Now, we're running short of time, but listen, do not fail to go to your local greenhouse, like McDivitt's up here on the
Yes.
north end.
Oh, great place.
Whitetail Acres.
Clark's.
Go to Clark's, because right now is the time where you get bargains. Now is the time where these plants are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw some fantastic peppers and tomatoes and squash and cucumber and broccoli, Brussels sprouts, even though it's a little late for broccoli and Brussels sprouts, honestly. It really is. You're getting into the heat. Don't plant any of those. But all of the other stuff, all of the warm weather crops, they have some fantastic flowers. She had a tremendous selection of vegetables up at McDivitt's. I just left there a little while ago. And then Whitetail Acres the other day when I was down there, they still had some of their giant tomato plants left. Go to some of your local greenhouses. The one in Wayne County, Rose City there, up there in Wayne County. Some good friends of mine back over around the corner there at Jackson Nursery. I'm sure he's
there's
got
a lot of good nurseries
Oh,
in
yeah,
Wayne
he's got-
County.
he's
That's
got
right.
some
We're picking up
tremendous
Great
plants up
County.
there.
Yes.
So please go to the local greenhouse, support them, and check out what they have available. And it is definitely not too late to start a garden, to add to the garden, to put on another section in the garden.
Add
Beans,
to your landscape?
It's landscaping.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Beans are still plenty of time for beans. You're borderline with corn if you're going to grow certain crops, but the short season crops, you still have time for corn, for crying out loud.
Because we're still going to put in a second round after our first round. I mean, you're working on, we haven't even started round 2 yet.
Yeah,
so.
and then, boy, this year I really want to promote the fall garden. Fall gardening is amazing.
Yeah, we
If
do
you
have
get-
good enough weather, far enough
Oh, we
into...
have tremendous weather.
Why not?
Fall gardening is great because you get the cool temperatures, the insects are down, you get to grow some of the crops where you can get them going because of the warmth and then grow them in the cool so that the production is appropriate for the plant, like the broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels
Can you
sprouts,
read?
kale.
Yeah, is that like a whole
Swiss
new
chard.
season for those?
Yeah.
You can write, which it just starts getting
Where
cool
do you
again.
live for the last-
You can start doing those
Where do
cool
we been married?
weather
55
crops
years, 56
again.
years? What?
Well, you don't see. He doesn't listen or answer my questions. That's why I don't know these things. So you can grow pretty much all those spring cool weather crops in the fall when it's cool weather again.
Most definitely, you can grow them in the fall.
Awesome.
And we definitely want to. We're going to try to reach out and do a little filming out in the yard where we can show a few of those things.
Yeah, we'd like to do
that we're growing.
segments. That
you know
would
what
be
I
neat.
want to try to do is I want to follow the what we're going to do with these groundhogs. Groundhogs and these other critters. Let me tell you what. You got a groundhog, they will wipe out your garden. But there is a product out there that it actually says on the label will repel groundhogs. We put it around our garden, and it did repel the groundhog.
Well, for one night, but I will see.
Yeah, and if it rains for 3 or 4 days or somebody waters heavy, then I don't think it's going to work.
And a groundhog, this thing, I am not kidding you, is 30 pounds. It's got to be 30 pounds.
It scared our future
And it has
daughter-in-law
babies.
to death.
Yeah, well, she opened her car door. It was right there and made hissed at her or something. So would I. I've never seen it up close and personal.
Well,
but
she
now
got
there's
between it
babies
and-
and they're cute
Yeah,
running
they're cute,
around.
yeah.
And
They actually make exceptional pets, but you got to get them when they're
no,
quite small.
not going to happen.
We had one as a pet quite some
But
time
the
ago.
mother is like 30 pounds.
I
It's
think
gross.
that's- I don't know.
Yeah, it's
That's
huge.
not gross. They're,
it's huge. It's gross
That's why
that
they call
it's
them a
living in my
groundhog.
yard. Yeah. I know.
Hog.
But I don't
As
want to
in-
live with it.
Well, you're about to. because we're going to have to make some other arrangements. Now, we do have a habitat trap. We just don't know if it's big enough for this groundhog.
Well, it has to be trapped, and the baby's trapped because I don't want
Well,
them
they're
separated.
big enough. They're teenagers now.
Well,
You don't want it separated.
You can't take their mommy away. You trap them all
Oh,
and
for
take them
crying out
all.
loud.
I'm just telling you, that's
Yeah,
how you got to do it. Nope, I
Help
want
me,
the
Lord.
babies to go with the mother.
Yeah, well, you have to. You lay out there at night and play ninja and catch it. You catch it and you take them to someplace else.
That's
okay?
funny.
Yeah, give them as gifts. Okay. You can wrap them up, put a little bow on them, and give them away.
Speaking of
as gifts.
wrapping it up, I think that's what we're going to have to do.
Lithal,
Yeah.
isn't that cute?
That's
How you
right.
just
How'd you like
did
we
that
tied
thing,
that
and I
in
seen what you
there,
did
yeah.
there. Did you see what you did?
And like I always like to say at the end of the show, hi, Dad.
Yeah, hi, Daddy, and you always want to slip that in. He's
I
not going to
do.
give you any more money, you know.
He watches it,
You're-
though, on the internet from New Hampshire. So
Thank you all very much for tuning us in, and we want
Yes,
to welcome
thank
everybody in
you.
Wayne County. And we want to encourage you to send us an email to that new section. Thank you so much. We love all of you.
The Garden Doctor.